got to have a concept. You have a great concept. You guys are doing it, man. And it's an honor for me to just be, you know, a small rock, man, in your mountain. I'm going to pop a top in your honor. Mr. Doc Walker blessed us with his presence and knowledge.
We want to welcome in our next special guest, Haley Skarupa. She's a three-time world champion in women's ice hockey and most recently won Olympic gold with Team USA.
The Cap Stadium Series is definitely my favorite, obviously. I'm a huge Caps fan, I always have been, and to be there at that game with my teammates and for us to bring, you know, our gold medals to there and share it with everyone in this area was really, really special for me, and just the support and it's been tremendous from everyone in this area, and you can feel that there at that game.
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network.
And welcome. Let me get the screen set up correctly. There we go. Welcome to episode 379 of Sports on the Hill podcast. And we've got a big show tonight. It's a bonus episode. I didn't expect us to be actually doing a show, but the Defenders proved that anything is possible. And I said last week if they won the XFL division championship, we would do a podcast. And they won that. We did a show last week, and I said if they won the championship one this past weekend, we would do another one. So we're doing well. Champ, I think you have to like reset your camera and bring it back in. But there we go. We got DC's People's Champ live with us. And Champ, how are you doing tonight?
Doing very well. Very, very happy that we get to celebrate another championship for DC. So I got to, you know, rock the gear, even though it's backwards. There we go. Got to rock the gear and everything. And, you know, it's the same thing with the Commanders. Why not us? Well, guess what?
Yep.
Well, it is us. Okay? It's us. We
Yes,
did it.
I'm excited. So I have a big announcement at the top of the show that I wanted to let people know. I will be at some point this summer designing official Defenders District of Championship merch to celebrate that, because no one has covered them like we have this year, Champ. I was doing research. None of the radio stations covered the win. The Washington Post didn't even cover the fact that they won. It's pretty crazy. Like, it's it'll be interesting to see where it goes. No, you have to go to bed, sweetie.
I guess Zaria wants to give her input on the DC Defenders win too. There she is.
There she
Hi.
is.
She wants to talk about the Defenders too.
Yeah, I'll give her credit. She rooted for the red team the whole first half. She was a really good. She's like, let's go red, let's go red. Did you like watching the football game? Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, so it was a good game. They scored a lot of points. It's crazy to think that the Defenders at halftime had the same total that the other team had by the end of the game. And I also like that the over-under was 52, and we scored 58. And that was the highest over-under ever. Liz, yeah, she's down here.
No, I want to. You're not on the podcast.
She wants on the podcast. She wants to show her knowledge of the DC Defenders and the Mystics and the Nationals and all that stuff.
Can you say bye? Can you say bye to Champ?
See you later.
Bye.
See you later.
Go with mommy.
Awesome.
Anyway.
She is cute as a button.
I know.
Holy crap.
Oh, she's coming. She's coming. All right.
She's cute as a button.
Yeah. So anyway, she and Zach were rooting. I let them watch the tape for the whole first half of the Defenders game, even though it was a bit of a late game. And
awesome.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Zach was like, I think we got this when we were going upstairs at halftime. He felt pretty confident.
Hell, I felt pretty confident after the second quarter. I was like,
Yeah.
I think we got this in the bag.
Yeah. Yeah, it had been like one of the most epic collapses ever. And like the UFL isn't like, I know they have a lot of rules that allow for comebacks, and you saw a little bit of that in this game with the opportunity where they actually did convert one of those 4th and 12 to keep a drive going. But it's hard to like continuously do that and score, and they had gotten themselves so far behind. I can't believe the defenders 10 for 10 in drives that they scored on. That is just remarkable and unprecedented.
That just goes to show you that it's the old saying, save the best for last. And they saved their best offensive performance of the season for the last absolute game of the season, which was the championship game against the very team that dog walked them in Michigan just a few weeks ago. Against the man who was voted as the league MVP and offensive player of the year. So Jordan Ta'amu went out and said, okay, I'll go ahead and top that, take the trophy that matters. That's the UFL trophy. And he took home UFL championship MVP. So, I mean, what else can you ask for from Ta'amu but that?
Right. He went for 390 yards, 4 touchdowns, a 156 QBR, and he had a rushing touchdown on top of those 4 passing touchdowns.
And he had a 2-point conversion reception.
Right, yeah. So he did a little bit of everything, and I love that his parents went all the way from Hawaii, and they booked a trip for them to stay the whole week, hoping that he could win that first game, and I love that confidence, and we might even have a guest who is he's actually flying back from the game right now, and he's supposed to land in the next couple of minutes, but maybe on his way home might call in our second hour, and we'll talk to a true diehard fan about that thing. So we're hoping for, but obviously with the airplanes and all the things, you never know what's going to happen. But so that might happen in our second hour. We're also going to talk a little bit of the Stanley Cup playoffs as well. We're also live watching this NBA playoff game, the final game, and so we've got a lot to talk about within WWE, soccer, a little bit of baseball, a little bit of women's basketball as well. So a lot of the topics that we'll talk about. But back to the defenders, it was an incredible performance on both offense and defense. I thought that special teams too. I think that the turning point of this game was when just after we had scored, they were having a kickoff return and they ran it back, and their own guys stripped the ball out, and we were able to recover and able to score on that drive. And I just felt like that was, for me, when the game kind of changed from this tit for tat thing to the defenders starting to dominate. What are some of your thoughts?
I mean, Grant, this is one of those games where they always say, you perform well in all phases of the game. And that was essentially what this game was all about for the defenders. Offensively, they were damn near unstoppable. They scored 21 points. No, 31 points just in the second half alone. That's where they basically took the game over, was the second quarter. 31 points in that one. 40 between the second and the third quarter. They were outscored 13-6 in the first quarter, and they were outscored in the fourth quarter. But those middle quarters is where DC took the game over and took the game away from Michigan, scoring 40 points in the second and the third quarter. As you mentioned, Ta'amu, who won the game MVP, was just absolutely outstanding. But what really stood out was something that I always preached that this team should be doing in the previous games, that they started doing in the XFL Conference Championship game and in this game, running the freaking football. 35 rushes, 190 yards as a team, and 4 rushing touchdowns.
But what I liked is they used the passing game to set up the run. And it's a little bit of the inverse of what you often think about. And in doing so, they were throwing these darts down the field, in which there were so many players in the box for a while, and that alleviated some of that, and so that opened up some of the running lanes a little bit later on in the matchup. And we're having a little bit of a technical thing, I think, with Champ.
Yeah, I'm coming.
Okay.
Hang on. My camera's like acting weird right now. There we go. I'll use this one for right now. Fuck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that you're right. It's usually when you think about an offense, they usually use the run to set up the pass, but defenders went the opposite way with it and used Ta'amu's passing ability, especially the deep pass ability that Ta'amu has, to set up for Smith and for Jackson to have really good games running the football and everything like that. But I'm going to tell you something. Jordan Teamo, as much as he wasn't the most accurate quarterback when it came down to passing, mid-range passing and short passing, but when it comes to that deep pass, he is dead. He is pretty much on the money almost 90% of the time. He throws deep passes and they hit the right spots, get right into the pocket of receivers and catches them running in stride for big gains and in some instances touchdowns. That is just absolutely just otherworldly talent right there, to know that you could throw a deep pass at a spot and you know your receiver is going to get there, get the ball in stride and turn it into a much bigger game than what it could have been. I just want him to be able to not only do that on deep passes, but also on mid-range and short passes as well. I think if he's able to be more accurate mid-range and in short distances, he's going to be a dangerous quarterback to deal with, especially because he's also a dual threat quarterback as well. I think next season, that's something that needs to be worked on with him, is not only just being able to hit those deep shots, but to hit those mid-range and those short shots as well to really make him a full, well-rounded quarterback.
I'll be interested to see if we get a chance. I think somebody's going to pick him up. I just think, if you're an NFL team and you see somebody with his skill set, how could you not want him to, be on your team, at least practice squad, right? So at least, try him out. So I would not be surprised if he moves on. And I hope not, because he's obviously the blood. Everyone says that he was what got us going, and him coming back this year stronger than ever. But yeah, I mean, to be able to do that, he had to have one of the most accurate days of his career to set up these short plays down the thing. And he had his best game of his career. What I loved was he was originally a Battlehawk, and then he was moved to DC when they did a realignment of quarterbacks. And so to me, that was an interesting thing because it made a lot of Battlehawks fans come back and end up rooting for us in the championship game. I saw a lot of nice comments from Battlehawk fans coming into DC Defenders Facebook rooms saying, congratulations, we were rooting for you. Some of them still had some of his jerseys from his Battlehawk days and wore those to the game. And they said that the Defenders fans were really nice to them when they came and visited, in that rainy weather. And so they wanted to show hospitality back. And so I like that even though they're rivals, that they wanted to support the XFL division and root for them. And it was a really cool experience for me to see like the whole XFL division kind of get behind the Defenders, and they were able to pull out a big time victory. It was a really exciting matchup all the way through. It got a little bit closer at the end, but I kind of like that. I didn't want it to necessarily. Last year's championship game, if people don't know, was a blowout. It was actually a shutout. So this was a much better game. Although this is the highest scoring combined game in UFL history. It's also the highest combined playoff game in UFL or XFL history, I believe. And there you go. There's Champ with the high res. Champ, isn't that incredible? We were just able to put up that kind of numbers in this game on such a big field.
It just amazes me because the offense has been mostly pedestrian for a majority of the season, but then they turn it on and they turn it up when it counted the most, and that was in these championship games, in the conference championship, and then again in the UFL championship game. They showed up and they showed out. They were finally able to get the run game going. Teamo was finally able to show why he should have been the league MVP and offensive player of the year, given the fact that he led the league in passing yards and touchdowns. But also, this performance showed that he had Teamo did, that chip on his shoulder of not getting the MVP and not getting Offensive Player of the Year by showing that it should have been him. Now, granted, Bryce Perkins, who was the league MVP and the league Offensive Player of the Year, did perform well. He completed 60% of his passes, 21 of 35 for 338 yards. He also had 4 touchdown passes, but he also had an interception. His QBR was 118.5. So he played well, but not as good as Te'amu played. And his offense played well, but not as good as Te'amu's offense did. And then the defense really stepped up when it needed to, getting some good stops and good plays. Yeah, they did give up the 4th and 12 after Michigan did score to give Michigan a chance to try to get back into it. And the one thing about the UFL is that they have not only that 4th and 12 in lieu of an onside kick, but also they give you the option of a 1, 2, or 3-point conversion, which can easily help. If you get 2 touchdowns and 2 3-point conversions, that's 18 points right there. You can easily get back into a football game with back-to-back 9-point touchdown drives easily. But this defense was able to stand up to them and be able to keep that from happening, and basically turn this into, even though the score doesn't show it, this was essentially a blowout for the most part. This was a blowout until like the 4th quarter, until like late 3rd quarter into the 4th quarter. This was essentially a blowout, and it ended, and that's how it played out. And that's why the UFL championship is now home to DC, and now DC will be the target and have the target on their back when it comes time for next spring.
All right, Champ, take a little break and give it a little Nats update. I'm going to try to get Zara back into bed for a second.
Give a what, Matt, update?
Give it a Nationals update, for
Absolutely.
the weekend. Perfect.
Absolutely. All right, so the Nationals are struggling, ladies and gentlemen. The Nationals are struggling. Last time we were here, they didn't do very well against the Rangers, lost 2 out of 3. But they started a 2-game losing streak the last time we were on, but that losing streak has now extended to 9 games as they were swept by their division rivals, the New York Mets, by a score of 5-4, 5-0, and then 4-3. So Soto and the Mets were able to get the best of the Nationals up there in New York. So not a very good showing for them. Not a very good offensive output for the Nationals, only scoring 7 runs in that 3-game series. And then it got worse for them as they returned home and had to deal with the Miami Marlins. And that was a rough one as well. It included on Friday in a game that was actually delayed because of severe weather that hit the DC area on Friday. That game ran late, but it was a huge offensive game for both teams, with the Marlins escaping with an 11-9 victory. The offense was a little bit muted in the other 2 games with a 4-3 and then a 3-1 victory for the Marlins. So back-to-back sweeps of series for the Nationals against division foes. Not a very good look for this team, even though we're still early on in the season. We haven't hit the All-Star break yet, but when you suffer back-to-back sweep, getting swept back-to-back by division foes, that's not good. And then Monday night, they began a 4-game series with the visiting Colorado Rockies, and they lost their first game by a score of 6-4. So not a very good look. They still have 3 more games to go against the Rockies, and then they begin a West Coast trip where they will be visiting Chavez Ravine in LA and the LA Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani is actually going to be making his first start on the mound, I think, tonight. First start on the mound in almost 2 years. I forget who they're facing, but he's going to be making a start on the mound. But hopefully, we'll have to see if he does pitch against us, as it'll be 5 days before his next start. So most likely we'll get a chance to go up against Shohei Ohtani on the mound. Hopefully the Nationals in this next 3 games against the Rockies can break this 9-game losing streak that they are on right now, because that's not going to do them any favors in the NL East, which is a very tough division to begin with. But hopefully they're able to take a couple from the Rockies coming in before they head out west to begin against the Dodgers this weekend.
Sounds good. Thank you for that recap. I'm going to do a quick little Orioles recap as well. They had a series against Detroit where they lost the first game 5-3. They won the second game 10-1, but then lost the third game 4-1. Then they swept the Angels 2-0, 6-5, and then 11-2. But are currently in Tampa Bay right now, losing 7-1. And they will continue that series on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then they do another series in New York on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this week. So that's the Orioles report. And then I was going to have you do a Mystics report real quickly if you have your Mystics notes.
Absolutely. It was only one game for the Mystics this past week. They went up against the Atlanta Dream, and this was their worst loss of the season so far. They lost 89-56 to the Dream. Only one player scored in double figures for the Mystics. That was Sonia Citron. She only had 10 points with 3 rebounds. Brittany Sykes, who's been their leading scorer so far, only 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. Irafrin had 6 points, 8 boards, and 2 assists for the Mystics. Again, Sonia Citron was the only one that scored in double figures in this game. While on the side of the Atlanta Dream, Alicia Gray led all scorers on both teams, scoring 32 points to go along with 5 rebounds and 4 assists for the Dream. Ryan Howard had 14 points to go along with 1 rebound and 2 assists for the Dream. Brittany Griner, their big free agent acquisition in the offseason, struggled in this one. Only played 19 minutes and only had 2 points. She did have 8 rebounds and an assist in this one, so Griner struggled. But the Dream, with the 2 I already mentioned, 2 other players off the bench had double figures. They had 4 players in double figures in this 86-56 loss for the Mystics. So the Mystics, a real big struggle in this one. Hopefully they're able to get it back. But big shout out to the Indiana Fever and White Chocolate herself, Caitlin Clark, who ended the undefeated run of the New York Liberty. Liberty no longer unbeaten. They were beaten after Caitlin Clark made her return and absolutely balled out in that one. I'm pretty sure we're going to see them again pretty soon, but this one was a very tough loss. And again, their worst loss of the season so far for the Mystics, but there's a lot of basketball to be played.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark is so exciting. I mean, she had like 20 points at halftime or something crazy, and like over 30 for the game, I want to say. And she's just incredible. I want to give a little bit of an NBA playoff update as well. Right now, the series is tied 2-2. Oklahoma City is up 49-36 with the Pacers just rimming out a shot there with 3:42 left in this first half here. And they're going for a 3, and they make it. So now they're up 52 to 36. So we'll be watching this finals game. It's a pivotal game 5 that down the stretch here throughout this podcast as well. But it's been an exciting week in a lot of different sports. I'm trying to think. Do you think we should just get the DC United in and get it out of the way now? We can always talk about wrestling on the other side of the hockey talk.
Yeah, we can do that, definitely.
Okay.
We can definitely do that. So DC United were disappointment once again after only scoring 1 goal in a 7-1 loss to Chicago. They then turned around and took on Real Salt Lake and didn't even score a goal at all. They lost 2-0 to Real Salt Lake. Johnny Russell and Xavier Gonzo were goal scorers for Real Salt Lake. Johnny Russell in the 23rd minute in the first half, and then Xavier Gonzo in the second half in the 77th minute. Real Salt Lake were putting a lot of shots towards the net, 20 of them to be exact, but 6 of them on target, leading to those 2 goals by Real Salt Lake. DC only 8 shots total throughout the game, only 1 on target, which is why they did not get any kind of goals or anything like that. And they also did not have possession of the ball much of the game. Real Salt Lake held the ball for 56% of the game to 44% for DC United. That makes it now 1 goal in the last 2 matches for DC United, and they remain in 12th place in the Eastern Conference table at 18 points, 7 points back of the play-in position of ninth place, which is held by Charlotte, with Chicago tied with Charlotte at 25 points, but Charlotte holds the tiebreaker and has ninth position, which would put them in a play-in against the eighth seeded, was the eighth ranked team in the Eastern Conference table. So DC United has some work to do coming up if they're going to try to make a move to try to get up in the Eastern Conference table. Their next match is coming up on the 28th. That's their next match. They will be facing Nashville in, I believe that is a U.S. Open quarterfinal warm-up match for them, because they'll face them in the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinal on July the 9th. So this is more so, this is actually an MLS matchup, but it's also going to be basically a warm-up for their matchup on July the 9th, and it'll take place at Audi Field on Saturday, June the 28th. So hopefully they're able to not only get a victory, get 3 points, and move themselves up into close to 11th in the table, but also can gain some kind of momentum against Nashville before they play them on the 9th in the U.S. Open Open Cup quarterfinal matchup, which try to get to the semifinals, but it starts there. But yeah, they have a week off before they have that game, and then they have Atlanta United a week after that, and before they play Nashville, and then they have Nashville after that. So that's what's upcoming for DC United, but they got to get it going.
Yeah, it's not looking really good for them right now. Between all those sports teams that we've been talking about tonight, the Orioles, the Nats, the United, and the Mystics, do you think any of them make the playoffs this year?
I think the Mystics have a pretty good shot at it because they started off pretty good. They struggled the last couple of games, but I think that they have such good talent on their team with Sonia Citron, with Kiki, with Brittany Sykes. I think that they have a chance. They're only ninth in the overall standings in the WNBA. And they're fourth in the Eastern Conference. So if they could get to the top 8, because remember, like, they don't do conferences when it comes to rankings, they just go overall, and they're 4-7 right now. I think they have a good shot at making a push to get there. It's just going to take some work. They got they have the Sky coming up on Tuesday. And then they get the running back against the Dream on the 20th, and then they got the Wings on the 22nd. So they have 3 games coming up. So they have a chance of, hopefully, if they could do well these next 3 games, they can get the 500. That could put them in good position to make a run for the playoffs. Again, the season doesn't end until late August, early September, or into September. So they have a lot of time. There's still 2 or 3 months left in the season. They got time to do something, but they have to start somewhere. But I would say, if any of these 3 teams that are struggling right now, if I had to pick any one of them that have a chance of making the playoffs, I would put my money on the Mystics.
Yeah, I can see that. So mission to see if when we come back. So this is the official last episode of Sports on the Hill podcast. We had done 2 bonus episodes. We have dragged it out as long as we can this year. So 379 will be our end. 380 will be the start of the fall one when we bring it back in, when Commander season is back, probably in September. For week 1. Yeah, it's been a fun run here. Talk about all the different DC sports teams. It'll be interesting to see which ones are still involved in what races, come September when we bring up the conversation again. I see that we do have our hockey guys on, so I'm going to switch gears and talk a little bit of Stanley Cup playoffs, and then we'll bring Champ back on and do some more Defenders talk and some more wrestling talk to finish out the show. But thank you, Champ, for all those breakdowns. That was great.
Absolutely. I'll see you guys in a bit.
All right. So, all right, Adrian, there was one really good game that happened, and then one less so good game in that last one. First of all, how are you doing tonight?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Robbie. Appreciate you having me here. Thanks for having me again. I'm really excited because Today. I had a stream with my new setup, and I got 2 wins back to back. So it's like thank you so much for helping with that. It helped me forget about the Oilers' rough game, but
So wait, did you play duo? Wait, which ones did you win?
I won 2 rounds of duos today.
Nice.
With Her Majesty. She saw me streaming and she joined in. I won one as Wonder Woman and the second one as the Flash.
Nice. Did the game chat? Could she talk on your stream yet, or have you not set that part of it?
Yeah. It's kind of strange because I have a chat headset, but it only has 3 settings, right? Off, PlayStation, or Xbox. There's nothing for Switch. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention, I got a Switch 2 as well. So
nice.
Yeah, so I was able to live stream on that. It looks so much nicer. Loads way faster. Really recommend it. So I can plug in that headset to the Switch 2 controller, and people can hear me through the mic, but I can't hear the game audio. So I have to turn my TV or my monitor's volume up so I can hear them in the TV. But we can still communicate with each other, and they all can also hear. I can also hear them in the stream, so I'm really glad that it's not just like a one-sided conversation anymore.
Congratulations!
Thanks, man. Yeah, I need to do it with my Xbox next, but right now it's just the Switch 2.
Did you get one last question about that? Did you get Mario Kart World?
I did. Yeah, the only bundles they only had the bundle that came with Mario Kart World at the Target I went to.
Oh,
they had like 5 or 6. I happened to go there with my son, and we were like, yeah, I bet you 100. Like he was like, I bet you $100 they don't have any Switch 2s in stock. I was like, yeah, you're probably right. And then sure enough, they did.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, you're gonna give me $100? Like, I mean, someday I'll give you $100 someday. Yeah, but yeah, we were just glad they had it. So I got that in a Pro Controller 2. And,
nice. I don't even have that.
And we did play a little bit of Mario Kart, but I'll have to do a live stream of that some other time.
But I will have to co-stream doing Mario Kart for sure.
Yeah. I could do that with you and with Zach too. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But yeah.
All right. Well, back to hockey.
Yes.
No, I could talk Nintendo for.
I know, right? Yeah.
But what do you think went so wrong in that Edmonton game, but went so right for that the game in Florida? And do you think they can replicate it back in Florida again?
Well, I think the big thing is for me is that this entire series, unfortunately, McDavid has only scored 1 goal. Like he's had a couple of assists and points, but I really want him to just come alive and really show everyone that he's they call him Connor McJesus for a reason, right? Like he's supposed to be one of the best players in the league, and he is. He's really good at skating, but it just felt like Game 5, Florida felt like a cohesive unit. Like they were working together to disrupt plays, to be aggressive, and to get the shots on net. I felt like the Edmonton Oilers' success only came in dribs and drabs, and they only really hustled in the last couple of minutes of the third period. And if they played with that intensity the whole game, then it may have been a different story. Luckily Leon Draisaitl has been amazing this postseason, especially getting 2 separate overtime game-winning goals this series. But both of the games that Edmonton has won, so he is not to be underestimated. But I'm just a little disappointed about how much of I thought that they were really going to be able to deliver more. I can give my hot take for the next couple of games, but if you want me to save that for later on in the stream.
Yeah, why don't you save that, and then I'll get Gil's take on those last 2 games, and then I'll take your take on the end of it. But Gil, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
Not too bad. Just happy to be squeezing one last bit of a hockey podcast. Yeah,
exactly. The last little drips, the cup check, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
It's It was an interesting matchup. Like a lot of these games have been so close going to overtime, but then obviously there's been these two outlier games by Florida, and so if Edmonton can keep it close, they have a good chance to win in overtime. But it'll be interesting to see if they're able to do that. But Gil, what were some of your takeaways in the last two games?
Well, I mean, I don't want to oversimplify things, but this whole series, well, I said it was going to be a nice back and forth. It has been. I didn't think it'd be this much of a back and forth, though. You literally having Edmonton having a pretty damn good game, and then a very not so good game the very next game, and then coming back and having a pretty good game, and then I don't know. Wow, I posted on Twitter the other day that this Stanley Cup Final series has redefined the definition of insanity. Forget about doing the same thing and expecting different results. No, this series has become the definition of insanity because you have no idea what the hell is going to happen or how it's going to turn out from game to game to game. The Oilers have switched goalies now twice in the last two series. And that would worry some people. It doesn't worry me because I know what this team is capable of. But honestly, game 5, I thought I was watching a Caps game because it took so long for the Oilers to get going. And I don't know what it was they were waiting for. But I just that part of it does bother me a little. It took them so long to get them going in front of their own home crowd. You've got the chance to get a foothold on this series and turn it into a best of one. And I don't know. They had the momentum in the palm of their hand. They just lost it, and that's it's very hard to get back. But I have a feeling this is going to at least go 7 games.
So they're gonna win on the road again. See that's a question I'll start with you, Adrian. Which goalie do you go with? Right? Like they've both been good and both been bad in the series. So my gut is you go back to where you started. With Skinner because he had been so good.
Yeah.
Throughout these playoffs. But what is your takeaway on that?
Well, I think the statistics have been very in favor of Pickard for away games. So, I believe he's undefeated this whole postseason when he's the starting goalie in an away game. So, the game 6 is in Florida, right? So, have him start game 6, see if he can keep that trend going. And when they're back in Edmonton, should Edmonton pull this off and they have to go to game 7 back in Edmonton, then put Skinner back in.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you that you just maybe have a short leash. You go. Maybe that is the right way to give the road guy one more chance to see if he can have a bounce back game.
Yeah.
But if it goes they go down 2-0 or something, you do a switch or something because the switch worked right in that other game they were down and they swapped goalies and they ended up coming back and winning. So maybe that's a possibility, but. Man, they're gonna have to put their best game of the season on in Florida because Florida at home with an opportunity to win the cup at home, it's gonna be a tough place to win on the road for sure. Because that they don't want to go back to Edmonton. Because then again, the opposite is true. I think if it goes back to Edmonton, I think Edmonton has a real chance to win this thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's going to be a really interesting last week. So just so people know. Game 6 is tomorrow at 8 o'clock, so that's on Tuesday at 8, and then it's all the way until Saturday would be the Game 7. So,
oh my God,
you have to wait 3 days off in between.
They're really dragging this out, man. This is awful.
Right. So,
actually, Robbie, I hate to correct you, but according to what I'm seeing. Game 7, if it's necessary, is actually scheduled for Friday night.
Okay.
Weird because that's
the 20th.
Okay, good. Yeah. That's not as long as it was.
Okay, that's better. It's weird. On the other screen, it said. Wait, this one says. All right. Well, I believe you're looking at the. Let's see. I'm gonna look at a different.
I'm in the NHL app.
All right, I trust that. Okay, that's fair.
Keep it
I mean, that
alive
makes more
too.
sense. I don't know why it was going to be so long, but it was in
Yeah,
the
right.
Yahoo Sports one, which is usually pretty. But you're right. No, here I see an ESPN one. I went to a third one. They'll be the tiebreaker. It says that it's Friday at 8 p.m. That makes me feel a little better. I was like, Saturday would be brutal.
Yeah.
Um, but we can definitely hope that it gets back to a game seven for sure. Because that's the only way the Oilers can win this.
Yeah.
But
You're
I
telling
mean.
me.
God, you got to figure that Boston fans must be like shooting themselves in the foot watching, Marchand put this performance together. I mean, Gil, we knew he was good, and he's been good in the past, but this is a legendary performance,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Boston fans are all kinds of upset now. You go on social media, they are beside themselves that
They're still thinking they're going to re-sign him because he's still a free agent.
he may want to stay. I think there's pun fully intended that he might have found some magic waters, fountain of youth, whatever you want to call it down there.
Right.
But
If you could
he
live in
is
Florida as a champion, why would you go to cold Boston? Back to them, the team that shut you off, right? I don't know if I would. So.
he is playing the hockey of his life, and to the point where he's being he's in the Conn Smythe conversation, and but he just I've never seen him play like this, and that's saying something. The guy's a former All-Star. He's always been one of the elites. He's always been one of the guys driving the offense for whatever team he's on, and now he's beating players that are younger than him off the face-off to the first puck, and then getting that first step quicker than I've ever seen him. It's magical what fighting for the cup and just having a chance at the cup even will do for you. And it's just amazing. I you hate the guy, but if you're a hockey fan, you're loving what you got to love what you're seeing here, because it is the app. It's this series is, if anything else, is the epitome of the two best teams with some of the best players in the league, showcasing themselves and fighting for that cup. And that's what you want to see. And I think anybody who's missing out because they've soured on this series being what it is, sorry, too bad. Don't be, but you're missing out. That's fine. More for the rest of us.
Yeah. I mean, I can't believe it. Like I think he's like really cut down on the dirty stuff too. Like, I usually am the first to point out when he's, doing that kind of bullshit, but I really think that he's become more of a team player in this scenario. And
That attitude is still there. That
yeah.
that that gamesmanship, the wanting to win, that's still there. But yeah, all the nonsense, licking faces and things like that. Yeah, that's kind of put away.
So good for him for being able to turn it on and to be the second player in history to have 5 goals in a playoff series in the Cup Final round. For 2 different teams, and the one with Boston was a while back, right? So it was
14 years ago.
yeah, so it's a pretty big gap between having those incredible runs. So hats off to him. Just in the same way that I would hope that people, if Tom Wilson has a great performance and a couple years down the line in a championship, that people would give him credit that he deserves, right? So I know a lot of people just hate him just because of who he is, but like I want to give credit for great performances, and I hope that Connor McDavid can show up in these last 2 games, and then unfortunately we won't have a podcast to talk about it. But you and I, Adrian, I could join one of your streams and chat about it if they're able to come on and win that. So, yeah, well, I really appreciate both of you guys for talking hockey with me all season long. It's been a blast, and Adrian, I hope that you guys find some magic in the final 2 games here. But I'll let each one of you guys get a final thoughts before we let you go. But I'll start with you, Adrian.
Thank you for having us. My hot take that I was gonna say earlier was just that I was gonna say for now. I guess I should say is Last year, when Edmonton was facing elimination and possibly getting swept, they rallied back to win 3 in a row, and they were like a couple of goals away from giving Florida the old reverse sweep. So, if they can rally like that again, they'd only need to win 2 games to win it all. But that's a big if, and it's a big ask. Florida is not an easy team to beat. And, I'm just trying to dismiss it as if they win it, they win it. If they don't, they don't. I'll be thrilled if they win it. But I spent way too much time and anguish last year getting over that loss. Like, I just don't want to deal with that again. So if Edmonton wins, I'll be ecstatic. I'll get the hat, I'll get the poster, I'll get the keychains and the flags. You know me, Robbie. I
You'll do it up big.
Stuff, when the Nats and the Caps win it. But if not, I'll give Florida the salute, and I just hope that Edmonton can pull it off in the near future. But they did make it this far. I just would love to see it go all the way to them being a champion. But yeah. I'm just no matter what happens, I'm just glad that we could have these little podcast, little powwow sessions, and glad I could be a part of it and let me pick my brain with you guys. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for joining us all season long, especially talking about the Oilers. It's fun to have a fan of a team that's still in the hunt, and it's been a lot of fun. Gil, I did promise you a quick little segment about the draft. Whatever the most abbreviated draft segment you can do is, I'll give you the floor and let people know what's coming up with regards to that.
Well, one final take on the final series. Adrian's not going to want to hear this, but my fondest hope is that they push it to a 7th game and it goes something like 3 or 4 overtimes in Game 7. That would be the ultimate for me.
Right? Yeah.
But that's just because I'm an playoff OT junkie. Okay, so really quick, the NHL draft is coming up. It's next Friday. Not this coming Friday, but next Friday will be the draft. The Caps perspective. Right now, they are the holders of the 27th pick. Well, let's just say this: anything and everything is on the table right now, and I mean that. This could go one of any 5 different directions. Don't be surprised if they do take the pick, that they do go after somebody. But also, do not be surprised if some sort of deal is made. I'm going to give a plug for my good friend Marcus right now, the Sacroons Off the Chain, Caps Off the Chain podcast. Keep up with us, starring Marcus, of course. Your genial booze lackey role in that podcast. If you've been keeping up with us, we've been going over various scenarios that could be. But yes, do not be surprised at all if the Caps make some sort of a grand move. Don't have time to go into too much detail here, but anything can happen. I'll just put it that way.
Yes, for sure. Well, definitely go check it out. I did do the link for the Securum Off the Chain podcast, so it's under the C4 links above. You can catch them on Spotify and on their YouTube channel, Capitals Off the Chain podcast. If you type that out on YouTube, and I want to give a quick little shout out. I didn't mention this earlier. This is episode 650 of my YouTube channel. So my podcast, this is only 379, but I've been able to make over 650 different YouTube videos. So I wanted to thank everyone for liking the concert videos. I had a recent Lincoln Park video go over 4,000 views. So thank you for all of the support over there on that. And then, we've had these live streams now for the last season. So this will be a video that people can go back and watch on replay up there as well. So thank you to YouTube. Shout out to them. And give us a like and subscribe if you haven't over there on YouTube. It's under my name, which is Robbie Gross. And so yeah, it's been fun to do this. Thank you, Gil, for everything. Definitely check out the Power Play Point podcast when they come back. And I really appreciate everything, Gil, that you've done for us this season and all the seasons. So all right, I've got to deal with a kid screaming upstairs, but I'm gonna bring in Champ back here to talk a little bit of football with us, and I'll be right back in 1 second. So, Champ, why don't you let people know what's happening on Raw tonight, and I'll be right back.
Oh, the joys of fatherhood. Let me tell you. But gentlemen, while y'all are here, right now on Raw, there is a fatal four-way in the King of the Ring tournament. First round, Jey Uso, who just lost the World Heavyweight Championship a week ago, is in it. He's going up against three big horses in Rusev, Sheamus, and Big Bronson Reed. So it's going to be a big task for him to try to make the semifinals of this tournament, where he'll most likely, I believe the winner will face Randy Orton in the semifinals, but it's going to be a big task for Jay to try to win it against these big horses. Also, a legitimate injury occurred during one of the matches here tonight. It was Kairi Sane taking on Liv Morgan in a one-on-one match, and during a spot where Kairi did a little takedown with the legs, when Liv went to brace herself on the apron, she dislocated her shoulder legitimately, and the match was called off with Kairi Sane being awarded the victory. So there's that. So we'll keep an eye on that for no spots this coming weekend on the severity of the injury. Also, it was something that Sith actually called on the podcast we recorded 289, literally just over an hour, 2 hours ago, almost 2 hours ago that we finished that. Sith called it that with Walter winning the world title back last week, that his next challenger was most likely going to be Goldberg. And sure enough, as Walter was out talking during Raw, Goldberg came out and challenged him to a world title match at Saturday night's main event in Atlanta next month. So we're getting Goldberg's retirement match against Walter for the world title in Atlanta, Georgia at Saturday night's main event on July the 12th. So Sith even said it himself in our group chat. He said, quote, "Sometimes the old man hates being right. This is one of those times." Wow. But yes, Goldberg is going to be challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship in less than a month. So WWE right now is building towards Night of Champions with King and Queen in the ring. But then they have Saturday night's main event coming up a few weeks after that in Atlanta with WWE Evolution the next night, which is going to be the all women's pay-per-view. Is going to basically feature all of the a lot of the women's roster in matches there. They did it back in 2016, so it's been about 9 years since they did their first one, and now they're going to do a second one, which should be pretty cool.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Champ, for all of that breakdown. We're going to bring in a new guest of the show, Evan, to talk about the DC Defenders with us. And he is actually a Defenders fan, and he's been a season ticket holder. And I think that he's on the line, so I'm going to send him a thing.
Hello?
Hello, there you are. How are you doing?
Good.
Welcome.
You hear me well?
Yeah. It's perfect. Welcome on in. So, Evan.
We just landed.
Yeah, congratulations. I'm happy that you landed. And are you still at the airport right now?
Yeah, I'm still at the airport.
That's crazy. That's commitment. So he literally just landed, and he's going to be on our show to talk about the Defenders.
I like that, Nick. The chain. Let's go.
Yeah. So Champ, myself, and a couple of the other guys that are on this podcast all went to the last game of the season, which was that rainy, sort of crazy game.
I was out there.
Yeah, I know. I saw you. So are you one of the guys that are holding the cups down below?
I'm the guy that starts it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's when I was doing my research, I was like, I think he's the guy that's at the very bottom of all the beer snakes.
That's me.
So
every game.
So he's the guy, Champ, that is the beer snake that we were all trying to add to. And so I did some research on Facebook. I was like, I'm going to try to find the beer snake guy. And I was pretty sure it was you. And that's amazing. So how did it begin that you got to be the guy to do the beer snake?
So my start or the actual beer snake start? That's two different stories.
Okay. Why don't we start with your start, and then we'll get to the beer snake start. I like that.
Oh, where did I start? So Let's see. Well, I've been following the team pretty much since the very first day that it was announced back in 2019, 18 that we were getting a team. So been on board day one. But I didn't start. So the beer snake thing didn't really pop off. So I was there for Lemon Gate. You know about Lemon Gate.
Right. Yes.
I call it Lemon Gate, but
Yeah.
you know, when they took away our beer snake, I was actually in the section when security started taking the snake. So I was there, and then I actually week what was it, 3 or 4 when we played the Battlehawks here at home in 2023. I actually started one beer snake, and another one got started too in the section over. We just kind of combined it, and I still ended up holding it. So that's kind of where it started, basically.
Right.
And then after that game, pretty much every home game except for one, I think, I've been the first one in starting the beer snake in section 137.
That's awesome. So how is it to be in the supporter sections? We're noticing there's no seats, right? You just stand the whole time.
I am standing the entire time.
So he's standing holding this beer snake the entire time. So like that's a wild.
I have gained some techniques on how to preserve energy to say, but yeah, I'll just stand there the entire time holding this.
That's amazing. Champ, do you have any questions about the beer snake?
I do. So, what are some of these techniques that you use to like preserve your? Because I'm sure that thing gets very, very heavy, especially at the very bottom, and you're there for like 2-3 hours. Like, what do you do to kind of keep yourself, there in a position to be able to hold on to that for so long?
Yeah, so when I first initially started it, like around that Battlehawks game, I was legit I was actually like holding it with all my own strength for the 3-4 hours that I'm standing there. But over time, I've actually started to so we have those like railings there in the supporter section. Mm-hmm. So I've actually started to just put it on the railing, and then I wear like football like wide receiver gloves while I'm doing it. So I actually have some pretty good grip.
Right.
I'll actually just hold it, and the railing takes most of the weight now. But it is a little hard still when it starts to curve.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Because we try to get this thing as far up, but people keep, there's no seats, so people naturally move around and stuff like that. So it starts to curve. I mean, I know it's called a snake, but we prefer no curvature.
Right. Okay. So how does that work? Do you communicate with the people behind you? Because everyone's holding it and working together. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm the guy who starts it. Doug, he's pretty much the head guy in controlling the entire section, essentially. We have beer snake conductors that go around collecting cups.
Right. Yeah, we were watching people contribute to that during the lightning watch of that game. So I was impressed with how much we were able to get it to grow during the intermission. I think that was why it was such a successful beer snake.
That was probably the first. Yeah, so that last game was probably the first time we've had a rain delay that I've been there. So that was definitely a new experience that I was thrown into.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was gonna stay out in the rain the entire time until security came and told me I had to get it undercover.
Yeah,
I was gonna weather and just power through, but
yeah, that was pretty. I was impressed watching you over there. So we were just not that far away. We actually got some pictures and some video of it on our recap episode from that one, so people can go back and watch some of our footage of the beer snake in that game. And we and everyone else kind of crammed into the dry section, I'll call it, the one section that was covered on the other side, but I was pretty impressed that you guys stuck it out in the supporter section, and even though it was a rough game, but I kind of like the game plan in the sense of like don't give the Battlehawks anything, like pretty much play possum and like almost the opposite of the plays that they're gonna run. And
I was not worried one bit that we were about losing that game. Like we had already pretty much secured everything minus home field advantage because that wasn't a possibility.
Yeah,
and
I wish I
I've
had your
told people
confidence, man.
yeah, I mean, I've told people all season,
Oh my God.
since it was announced that Audi wasn't going to be a possibility, that if Audi was a possibility, we'd probably be like 8-2.
oh
We'd
yeah,
actually tried those last couple weeks, but
I wish
yeah,
they could have. I'm sort of sad because honestly, I feel
trust
like
me,
I wish that we had the Defenders, fan base and support and media attention that they had, a bunch of years back when they were like filling out the place. And it really upset me that the day after the championship, the Washington Post, nothing, radio stations next to nothing. It's barely even mentioned, and I'm happy that we've gotten to talk about them every single week. We've been dedicated to this team, and there's so few news outlets that are, and I'm a little frustrated. We had asked for media representation, and I'm going to ask for it again next year and I'll have proof that we talked about it every week, and I'm like, who are you giving media passes to? Because no one's talking about you guys, So like, they
I'll
need.
vouch for you, man.
I think Tayamu was just on 106.7, so
Yeah, I'm happy that they got something. But that was like
something there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It took them winning the championship to get one appearance, That's yeah. So I'm proud that they finally got around to it, but yeah, but anyway, I wanted to talk about last week. Going to there was a big celebration locally, right, where you guys got together to.
So the watch party for the conference champ. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was at Walters. Typically, I don't follow the team on the road. It's pretty much just the home games that I go to. But us as like a super fan group, we go to the championship no matter who's in.
Right.
So I mean, I was gonna go to St. Louis no matter what.
Oh, great! That's cool.
Oh yeah, we did it last year for Birmingham and San Antonio, and we did it the year prior with our loss to the Renegades. But
yeah. But I'm happy to avenge that.
I try to go to as many watch parties as I can, whenever my work schedule allows it.
Yeah, so the watch party was pretty lit. I'm sure people were pretty excited to get to the championship game.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So they're doing like construction or something.
It actually, we don't hear it.
It's oh, there we go. Never mind. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. So real quick, let's talk about going to the championship game. So you said you're going to go no matter what. So that's awesome that that we were able to make it. What were your feelings going into the game? And then what were your feelings sort of at halftime and being there, and obviously it being a very different situation than a lot of us thought maybe going into it. At least I didn't think it was going to be this lopsided.
So despite what I look like on my camera appearances, I am always nervous as hell throughout the entire game. No matter how much we're up, no matter how much we're down, I'm always like, there could always be something that goes wrong, or like once Michigan started getting those back-to-back 4th and 12s toward the end, like I was nervous when we had a 21-point lead. I'm like, can we not blow this, please? But yeah, so naturally I am nervous until the clock hits 000 in the fourth.
Can you talk about the fan experience going to that road stadium? And it was hard to kind of tell how many people were there at this one. I was hearing conflicting numbers. Was your section fairly full?
I heard about 14K.
Yeah. But did it feel busy? How did it feel compared to like our games at Audi Field?
Well, 14K in Audi is a lot different than 14K at the Dome.
Right.
Because like 14K in Audi, it'll look like a packed house.
Right.
14K at the Dome, it didn't look as packed. But I know they normally expect like 30K got fans there, but that's just really for the Battlehawks.
Yeah.
I mean, the fan experience was pretty good. There wasn't, compared to last year, there wasn't a lot of stuff. There was actually fewer stuff. Because last year they had all the U.S. Army stuff, and like they had like this football cannon that you'd shoot up into like a goalpost type thing. They didn't have that this year. I didn't even think last year they actually had the trophy on display before the game for fans to take pictures of. I didn't even see that this year.
Yeah. Did
so we could definitely probably improve the fan experience for like pregame activities out there, but we kind of make our own fan experience. Like Carrie, Doug Defender's wife, she actually made our own little pregame not watch party, pregame like party at a local bar there.
Oh, nice.
We made our own fan event.
Right. No, that's awesome. So after they win the championship, it looks like the place had pretty much cleared out. Were you guys able to watch them like get the trophies, or did they clear?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you guys were able to stay for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually went when they were lifting up the trophy. I was actually in toward the sideline of the stands, but then like I don't know, a minute after like all the confetti was going up, I see some of our super fan group running onto the field from the where the players came from the locker room. I'm like, how did you all get down there? So the rest of our fan group actually ran down and we actually had pregame like field passes, wristbands.
Oh, nice.
And when we got down there, the security people were like, "Are you friends or family?" And we're like, "We're friends," and we just flashed the passes, and they're like, "All right, go."
Nice. I'm happy you had those passes though, because I feel like that gave you more legitimacy than like.
Oh yeah. Just flash it. Don't read into it and just go.
Right.
Yeah. So I was actually able to get onto the field.
That's awesome. So you have any pictures from being on the field for the celebration?
I do. I'm in some video. I'm probably gonna post in the next few days to a week, maybe.
Nice.
On my Twitter.
Really let everyone know your let everyone know your Twitter so that way that they wanted to follow.
Okay. So I believe it's DC Beer Snake 1. I believe that's the tag, but Beer Snake Defender is if you want to just look up the name of it.
I'm getting the link for you so I can put it in the chat here. So DC.
Yeah, so that's kind of my character name that I didn't even come up with. District Defender came up with that.
So is it DCD Beer Snake? Yeah. Is that right?
Should have a 1 at the end.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Robbie's looking that up. I do have another question for you, Evan.
All right, there you go.
Can you estimate what the ratio of fans was between Michigan and Defenders?
To be honest, I kind of feel like there was more Michigan fans there. Because whenever Michigan made a huge play, like almost their entire sideline of fans blew up. And I mean, yeah, I kind of felt like there was a lot of Michigan fans there. But also they are kind of closer. It's just
I was getting ready to say, Michigan is
Missouri.
Michigan is pretty close to St. Louis, so that was not surprised that
And they
with
all with these stadium locations for the championships that we've been a part of, we've kind of gotten screwed because the first one was in San Antonio that we lost, and we were playing Arlington. Like those fans just had to drive a couple of hours. Meanwhile, our fans had to take flights, and so we were outnumbered there. And yeah, I would say probably we're outnumbered here too, but didn't matter this time.
Nope, didn't matter at all.
That's amazing. I love that you guys got on the field and that. How many were in your group that you guys all were going with?
About 12 to 15-ish.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you guys all Defenders fans or just all fans of the UFL?
Oh, we're all Defenders.
So you're all, I heard
Yeah.
Defenders. That's awesome.
You'll pretty much see us all at the home games.
Yeah. I think that you're like that group like in the front row, right? You know, so that seems, So that's awesome.
They did a panning shot on TV, and that's pretty much the entire group right there.
That's awesome. Yeah. So there's definitely a bunch of different Defenders rooms that I've seen you in on Facebook. And so I'm happy that we were able to get to have a little bit of your story on here. And I'm happy that you got home safely and that you're able to set this up. And I do love that we can broadcast from anywhere, including the airport.
Oh yeah.
It's
yeah, shout out all my super fans. It'd probably be too long to name them all.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom and Dad, I think they're watching.
Nice.
I'll see you here in a minute.
That's awesome. So yeah, we will we'll get this video up. It'll be on YouTube, and we can share it to your friends. Also, you can catch us on Facebook. It's on Twitch and on Kick. So we're on all the different platforms. But the YouTube will live on my channel, and we'll definitely chop this part up. And I love the fact that we're able to chop it up with a really diehard Defender champ. Any last questions that you have for Evan before we start to wrap up?
Just one last one. Do we repeat next year?
I hesitate with repeating because it's so rare. But I kind of feel like with how small, we might be expanding next year too. But with how small the league is, I feel like it's definitely a better shot than like NFL, NHL, because there's like 30 teams there, whereas here it's just like 8 or 10 or however many we have this year.
It's a shorter route to get to the championship. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, I understand the hesitancy. It really just depends. For me, it's if we can keep our quarterback. I think he is the lifeblood of our team. And also coaching.
That's another thing too.
Yeah.
Being fans of these teams, like you can't really get. You can't really get attached to players because the goal is for them to get back to the NFL. Ultimately. So, like if they do end up back on your team, you're like happy that you're here, but I'm sad that you didn't get another shot in the NFL. So
it's interesting that the chemistry that he had with some of the people he played in the at the NFL level with, and also at the college level, really played a big part of it. So having his chemistry of being a part of this team for so many years, and I liked how many Battlehawk fans were rooting for him because he also was a quarterback. So
there was one guy that had a Miami Defender shirt on and a Battlehawks hat.
Yeah,
and I even saw some old 2020 Miami Battlehawks jerseys.
I saw a lot of them, and a bunch of those guys came on the Facebook groups and like wished us well and said congratulations, and I thought were really classy, especially because we beat them in the previous round. So
we got rivalries in this league, but at the end of the day, we're all kind of rooting for each other to make sure the league survives. So.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's crazy to me that it was something that was on ABC, and it should be a more well-known thing. Like I wish that more people knew about it. It's a great product. I thought it was really exciting.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I do too. Well, Evan, thank you so much for being a part of it. Again, if people want to follow you on X, it's x.com/DCBeersnake1, and you can catch all that there. And here it is.
Yeah, right here.
I might have to change that profile picture to the one with me in the trophy now.
There you go. You should. Yeah, definitely. So, thank you, Evan,
I did renew my season ticket, so I will be back next season.
Nice.
I'll still be there. We'll be beer still.
Nice. Also, MCK Diaz, I said hi, baby, is in chat from Facebook.
That's Mom.
There you go.
Hey, Mom.
So that's awesome. So welcome on. Thank you for checking in on Facebook. And yeah, I appreciate everyone for supporting the Defenders this season. It's been a really, really awesome. And Evan, I know you support a lot of the other DC sports teams. So maybe we'll have you back on a regular podcast to talk about any of those teams as well. You're always welcome here. Thank you for supporting the Defenders and being the defender of the beer snake. It's fun to get to talk to a local celebrity in these in the Defender world. So congratulations to you and all those Defender super fans out there. It's a big victory. I am going to be designing new Defenders / Sports on the Hill merchandise this summer that people can go check out because I want to definitely rep the Defenders all year round. And so I told them if they can do it. This was the last one we had designed. It's getting and so I want to add another championship right into it, and so I'm excited for that. But thank you, Evan, so much for being a part of this. I know just after you landed, which is not ideal for being on a podcast, but you nice. I appreciate that. Well, thank you so much, Evan, and congratulations again.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Thanks, Evan.
All right, thank you, Adrian. I'm going to end it right here. I don't know. I think I'm not going to raid tonight, but I really do appreciate Champ and Adrian for being a part of it. Definitely go check out Adrian on his channel as well, Ace Caltor. And
by the way, a quick Raw update. Jey Uso won the main event Fatal 4-Way to advance to the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament over Sheamus, Bronson Reed, and Rusev, thanks to help from Sami Zayn to help out to keep Braun Breaker at bay, and then LA Knight getting revenge on Bronson Reed, leading to Bronson Reed getting pinned after 2 Uso splashes. Then afterwards, Seth Rollins came out to confront Jey Uso, but Cody Rhodes said, no, not happening. It's going to be Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso in the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament. And that means the other King of the Ring first round match will see the winner of that one face Randy Orton in the semifinals. And then the finals will take place at Night of Champions in a couple weeks' time. So there you go. That's your Raw update.
Thank you so much. So definitely, if you want to check more of Champ, you can definitely check him out. True No Spots Pod. Get more of that podcast on there. And Ace Caltor 314. If you want to check Adrian out.
Yes, check me out. I'll check you out right back.
There you go. A lot of Switch 2 content, which is awesome. Congratulations on getting one of those.
Thanks.
And this has been a super fun year. Thank you everybody for tuning in and being a part of this season. This is just the first part of season 10. We will continue season 10 and Ovechkin's maybe the final season in the NHL. We will see. Hopefully not. But either way, we'll definitely be monitoring that. And Adrian, good luck to obviously to the Oilers in these next 2 games. I hope that you're able to find a way. And Champ, I hope that all the wrestling is great all summer long. And we'll definitely find a time that we'll have to grill out or do something this summer for sure.
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you for having us.
For sure.
Have a great summer. Hope to be a correspondent for you back in the fall.
Thank you so much. All right,
Go
bye.
Get yo. Sayonara.
Bye, Champ. Bye, Robbie. Bye, everybody.